Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We're now delighted to be joined over the telephone by our guest for this afternoon, Dr. Mohamed Qaood, member of the Chamber of Tourism Companies. Dr. Mohamed, good afternoon to you, sir.
Hello, good afternoon.
Thank you very much for joining us, Doctor. Let me start, of course, by asking you now, Sharm el-Sheikh has been praised for winning the award for the safest tourist destination to visit in the world. How do you see this award, especially in light of the situation in the whole region?
That's a very positive indicator. And Sharm el-Sheikh, this is the second award that it has received. So it first received one as a green city. So it's one of the most economical friendly or eco-friendly city.
Yes.
Secondly, it has been recognized as well as one of the safest cities. So that's a clear message that the destination is flourishing. The destination is highly demanded. And a message as well that whatever is happening on the borders with on Gaza is not having that much impact on Sharm el-Sheikh.
Absolutely. Now, Egypt has achieved great leaps with regards to tourism and occupancy rates and tourist numbers from the beginning of this year as well as last year. How do you see this development in the tourism sector, and what does it mean? What does it translate to, in your opinion, Doctor?
No, it's giving like a very solid message. So if we were to compare like the first 2 months from this year in comparison to last year, all the figures are higher than last year. So in terms of occupancy, it's higher. In terms of average daily rates at the hotel, it's even higher than last year. So overall, as an indication economically, it's improving. Besides as well with all the mega projects that's being developed at the moment in Egypt and all the foreign direct investments that came that see the opportunities within the travel and hospitality industry, it's giving as well like a strong message to all the investors and the international on what's happening in the Egyptian market.
Absolutely. Now, Dr. Egypt has taken many steps with regards to the development of the tourism sector, from infrastructural steps to the improvement of hotels and rooms, airports, other ports as well, roads, transportation systems. How does this all work towards increasing the number of tourists, as well as giving them an easy and pleasurable experience when they come to visit Egypt?
So basically, we are looking over here on different pillars. So one is like the macro plan or the strategic plan of 2030 of how we are going to achieve the 30 million visitors per year. Secondly, the government is working as well on a strategic plan for every destination. So we have a strategic plan for the Red Sea, a strategic plan for Al Alamein and the North Coast, a strategic plan for Cairo. Third pillar is what we call the quality of life. So we are working on improving the quality of life, which includes the customer journey and customer experience when they come to Egypt.
Absolutely.
And that's on the micro level. So, and each of them is providing an anchor and a demand generator. So in order to drive more businesses to Egypt or to drive more tourists to Egypt. And that's the key for us for the upcoming 2 to 3 years.
Indeed. Doctor, of course, there's lots of partnerships between the government and the private sector in the tourism sector as a whole in Egypt. How important do you see these partnerships? How far does the private sector go towards the success of tourism in Egypt?
It's a key factor for success. So you cannot achieve these big ambitions and these big plans without having the right partners with you,
Absolutely.
the right consultancy firms that have hand in hand with you, the international exposure, and all the stakeholders from the hospitality and tourism on a global level, whether they are in the hotels, the tour operators, the aviation, the airlines. So the whole stakeholders has to be taking part of it. Having the partnership, the private-public partnership, PPP. We started seeing it increasing in our industry, in the hotel and tourism. It was mainly before focusing mainly on mega projects for infrastructure and oil and gas, but now it's going to all different industries. So you can see it in retail, you can see it in commercial, in hospitality, in residentials, and it's growing. Of which it's improving firstly the quality of the product, diversity, competition, competitive benchmarking. So all what's currently happening is definitely improving. And what the government has managed to do, that it facilitated a lot the way of joint venture. It was very complicated in before, like to get a joint venture with the government. Now there are many different forms that can serve small enterprise, medium enterprise, and large corporation, and even sovereign funds, as the one that we have recently seen in the news for the Ras Al Khaimah project.
Indeed. We, of course, will be discussing that later on. But let me first ask you, how do you see the marketing campaigns, the different strategies when it comes to marketing? There's been a move from the more traditional methods of marketing Egypt as a tourism destination to more up-to-date social media-related marketing strategies. How do you see this shift?
That's very tangible as well. You can see the effect of it, and that's why the number of tourists is increasing. The average spend per tourist coming to Egypt as well is increasing. So you're seeing increasing in both scenarios. Besides as well, what is keeping Egypt busy is that it started like the different segmentation, and that's what's key for resilience and sustainability of tourism. So we have seen that we have been impacted by the Gaza war. However, like the numbers in terms of arrival is increasing, the average spend per tourist is increasing, and that was mainly because we have adopted different marketing strategy, different positioning strategy. We opened new source market. We have opened even different type of tourism. So now
the diversification of tourism. Yes, absolutely, Doctor. And diversification of tourism has come quite far. In Egypt, we have diversified into different fields, moving from the traditional, cultural, ancient Egyptian or beach tourism to other kinds of tourism like religious, environmental, sports, conference tourism. How important do these different kinds of tourism factor in when it comes to occupancy rates, when it comes to the different kinds of visitors, different ethnicities, cultures, traditions, and religions that we can attract to Egypt?
Like the traditional one are growing, so religious coming to Egypt is growing. The cultural heritage is growing. Sun and beach are growing. Besides as well, they have introduced, like now the golf is picking up. MICE business meeting, incentive conference and events. Cairo now is busy or more or less all year round because of the conferences that are taking place in Cairo. You have the segment of the leisure, which is people that are coming for business in Egypt and extending with a couple of days for leisure trips, and that's as well like it's impacting like the occupancy in Cairo and as well on the north coast and the Red Sea. Beside a couple as well from Luxor and Aswan. It's likely, but it's growing. So this segment as well is growing. You have as well the culinary experiences that's coming to Egypt. So entertainment, the concerts. So you have a lot of things now. It's happening. So we have deviated a lot from just the traditional culture and beach and sun and beach. Even medical travel now is being considered to focus on to build like one of the biggest medical facilities for Egypt. Wellness is doing extremely well at the moment in Egypt. Wellness travel.
Very good indeed. Tell me, Doctor, let me ask you about the importance of the competitiveness of Egyptian tourism compared to other, touristic destinations all around the world. How competitive do you see Egyptian tourism in this regard?
We will have to, like, in general, we cannot compare it like with one country, like, because like it's very rare that you find a country like Egypt that has like all of this culture and heritage very rich, with 40% of the total monuments on a global level, and at the same time the coastal line that it has on the Mediterranean and on the Red Sea. So, but in terms of competitive set, no, like Egypt now is performing extremely well on the beaches, and now we see a benchmarking coming on the north coast for the new development of the new Alamein City and Al-Hikma. Then you have as well, you have the Guna. It's one of the best performing that you can even compare it to the project that's happening, mega projects happening in Greece or in Bodrum in Turkey. So things are growing. Like overall, we are doing well because we like the partnership between the private sector, between the government, between the international investors is lifting like the quality of the product a lot, and at the same time appealing to all the international marketing with a short connectivity as well, which is an ad for us.
Yes. Absolutely. And you've mentioned, of course, the North Coast and the new projects in the North Coast. This is another new market that can be tapped into with a very, very promising reward, moving just away from investing in, the Red Sea. Now there's lots of investments in the Mediterranean as well. How do you predict this as influencing, tourism in the upcoming future?
A very strong impact. Like this project, firstly, like it positioned Egypt differently. So Egypt was not pitching for this kind of mega joint ventures. So going for a joint venture worth $150 billion on a project, this is like the project that you can hear it for other countries, but not Egypt. Or if it were to happen to Egypt, it was not on the field of real estate and hospitality and tourism and medical and retail. It was probably mainly oil and gas. But seeing it, so now you brought the appetite of international investment, sovereign funds, investment in institutions, that there is a big ticket worth considering in Egypt. Secondly, it's going to change the whole quality of the North Coast, and it will extend the North Coast to extend the seasonality over there. That with the potential that it can turn it to all year round destination.
Indeed, absolutely right. I'd like to thank you very, very much, Dr. Mohamed, the Qaood member of the Chamber of Tourism Companies. Thank you very much, Doctor, for your time and your insight and for joining us on today's edition of Cairo Local Time. Ladies and gentlemen, another short break and we'll be back for more. Do stay tuned.